And Tony Schiavone, in a very somber mood, shared some unfortunate news that billionaire mogul Ted Turner has passed away at the age of 87. Uh, Before we get into Sting coming out and all of that stuff, your thoughts, your comments, Ted Turner.
So this is how I found out Ted Turner passed. Was seeing this right on the AEW television. I was like, oh shit. And I guess it tracks that, look, we're on the network, right? And,
Mhm.
some of these folks involved were there and may have known Ted personally.
Yeah,
And so that's fine. And that they were going to do this is fine. And they brought out Sting to make it not as, boring as we can be, right? Like, let's bring out Sting. I'm sure they flew him in to do this. But,
hmm.
as far as, about Ted Turner, man, I don't know much. I know, he went to
Oh,
toe-to-toe with Vince, but I also know, he's not much better of a guy in the end. And he's a problematic guy in his own right.
I don't think so. So
I don't think he's
he
I don't think he's a molester, you know what I mean? Sex offender
no,
like Vince,
no,
but
yeah, he is nowhere near the level of
right.
Vince
Yeah,
McMahon
yeah.
or Elon and all those other fucking weirdos. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he went to the island, right? Like, he's not that.
Right. Exactly.
Um, but I think he's fascinating. I, yeah, his life is incredible. I
Yeah, so
know
I
a
don't know
lot
much
about
about
Ted
it,
Turner.
to be
Oh,
honest
I
with you.
do.
Okay.
I know a lot about Ted Turner. I think his life is just wildly fascinating. Like, there should be a book about it. So his father was in the billboard business, right? Like you
Yep.
drive on the highway
Sell you a
billboard,
billboard, right?
right? And so that was their family business. And then he took it over because his dad killed himself, which is pretty jarring, right? And so, like,
Yeah.
now it's your shit. And, again, I won't get into all the details, but it's so fascinating, like the fingerprints he has on today's media because he's created CNN, which is the
Right.
24-hour news channel, which I think is the worst thing ever created. I think in the initial infancy of what he created, it made sense because what he used to say is, "Hey, I work long hours, and then when I get home, because my head is straight into my work, I want to know what the news is. I turn on the TV, there's nothing there." And it's like, okay, that makes sense. But then it became pundits and Fox News, and so it spiraled out of control, kind of like the internet,
Right.
right? The internet started off like share information, and now we got like Alex Jones being a climate change denier or whatever, right? But then I think it was amazing what he did. So, like, obviously he bought Jim Crockett Promotions, turned that into WCW. Then he created the Superstation. Like, me as a kid from Kansas City, because of Ted Turner, I became an Atlanta Braves fan, an Atlanta Hawks fan.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah, yeah.
liked those teams because they
Yeah.
were always on my
I
TV.
never would have seen WCW or those early I would have never
Yeah,
seen that stuff on my TV in Manhattan, Kansas if it wasn't
yeah,
for
right.
this
And
TBS. Yeah.
yeah, and then the other things, like he was the co-creator of Captain Planet. I don't think people realize that. That
Mm.
fucking ruled. He created the Goodwill games. He was one of and I think they even mentioned it in the like package that they did. He was like one, not the key, but like he was uh he moved the door open for relationships between Russia and America because of his Goodwill games that he had created. So